Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Deb, and welcome to another episode of PTSD and Beyond. Welcome to the PTSD and Beyond podcast, where we give you insights into post-traumatic stress, trauma recovery, healing, and beyond. I'm Dr. Deb Lind, and in each episode, I have a conversation with a guest who will stimulate your mind, touch your heart, and connect with your spirit, and also give you a greater understanding of yourself and others on this healing and recovery journey walked by so many of us before, wounded healers with lived experience and heroes. Hopefully, we'll also provide a glimpse into possibilities and purpose, hope, and inspiration. Thanks for listening and enjoy the podcast. One last thing, guys, before we dive into today's episode, if you'd like an ad-free experience and like early access to new episodes and special events, I want to let you know you can join us at patreon.com. That is patreon.com/PTSD and Beyond. All right, let's do it. Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Deb here with PTSD and Beyond. Has anybody ever made the comment or said to you, you need to sit with the pain? Has anybody ever said that? I find it really interesting, actually, when people will say things like, you need to sit with the pain. You need to embrace the pain. Sit with the pain. Those statements are actually incomplete. So they're not totally inaccurate, but they are incomplete. See, if we sit with our pain, then what happens? If we sit with the pain, what happens? What do we learn? We learn to hurt. We learn to feel pain. The statement, sit with your pain, means we become overwhelmed again by our pain. And some people might even re-experience pain, re-experience memories, and hurt even more. What's complete is sit with the pain and ask, what is it trying to tell me? What is it saying? What is it trying to get my attention about? What is it trying to teach me? See, pain tries to communicate with us. And if we solely sit with our pain, we're not learning anything other than I'm going to hurt some more. This week, I had a situation that really bothered me. And I said to myself, I don't like this pain. I don't like this type of pain. And I asked myself the question, I said, what is it trying to tell you? What does it tell you? And I always go back to Dr. Dan Siegel's work with Name It to Tame It. And I literally paused where I was at, and I stopped and I said to myself, can you name it in one word? Right? Because if you ask yourself the question, what is it trying to tell me? Then we have this narrative. We've got this story that goes on. And that's not a bad thing, okay? It's not a bad thing. Sometimes we need to have the narrative and the story as part of our processing. As part of our processing. But I knew that I was beyond the narrative. And how I knew was because of how my body was responding. I knew it. And I kid you not, doing this healing work and continuing to do the healing work, I've gotten myself to a point where I can identify where am I feeling and what's going to be on the other side. And it's really cool because I've been able to figure out, hey, guess what? A breakthrough is coming. And while I was really bothered, I did tell myself that too. You're going to have a breakthrough. You recognize where you're at. You recognize where you're not at. And I knew I was going to have a breakthrough. What is it trying to tell me? I don't need the narrative. I'm beyond the narrative. What's the one word? Once I can name it in one word, then I can tame it. The lights just flickered. See, there's a sign. The lights are flickering. And I was able to name it. And I said, all right, now you got a name for it. Now can you understand it? What is it trying to tell you? What is anger trying to tell you? What is it trying to tell you? And again, not the story, not the narrative. What is it trying to tell you? See, sometimes we get stuck in the narrative and the story, and what happens is we're unable to understand ourselves. Sometimes the story isn't ourselves. So I was able to name it, and I wanted to understand myself. That's the other thing. The other thing is we do, and when we do, understand ourselves at a deeper level, we're able to help ourselves on a deeper level. So what was the anger trying to tell me? What was it saying to me? And also, what was it not saying? It wasn't saying I couldn't think. It wasn't saying that I was crying. It wasn't saying that I was so distraught that I needed to take a break. It wasn't saying any of those things. What it was saying was I was very, very bothered, and I was very upset, and I was very angry. I felt all these emotions, and it was telling me something. And the next question that I asked myself, can I name where it came from? Can I name where it came from? So the first naming is, what is it? What is this trying to tell me? Can I name it in one word? Yep, I've identified and I've been able to give it a name. The second one is, where did it come from? And where can also be a who. Where can also be a who. And I was able to do that too. And I also was able to figure out what it meant for myself. I've learned that the more I go through this practice meaning this is how I work through this stuff. You know, somebody else might give it a name of, I don't know, different than a practice, maybe a task. I don't know. But this is how I work through things. And I've modified and I've changed how I work through things over the years. But sit with your pain is inaccurate. It's incomplete. So because it is actually technically because it's incomplete, it is inaccurate. What's more accurate and more complete is, what is it trying to tell me? What is it trying to tell me? And yes, being able to figure out and listen to the messages of what it meant for me. What it meant for me. What it meant for me, and also what it meant to me. What it meant for me and what it meant to me. And the more that I do this work, like I said, the more I understand myself. And you know what happens? I'm going to share with you the sensation that I feel. Okay, I actually get a physical sensation. It's one of the key ways that I'm able to identify what's going on when there's these reactors that come up and I say, what's going on? First of all, my hands are dry. And secondly, even though I have all these emotions and all these thoughts and things going on at the same time, naming it, identifying where it originated, people it's associated with, things, I'm cool, which is different. Not saying that I still don't get pissed about things. But this situation, I was like laser focused. I mean, I was like laser. And the other thing I want to mention is I needed to have a conversation with somebody. Oh my gosh. And I was worried about it. I was worried about it because I know how things have gone in the past and I wasn't really sure where this was going to go, but I needed to have a conversation with somebody. And so all these dynamics are going on at the same time. And the one thing that I knew is I knew the outcome was going to be a breakthrough. And every time I have a breakthrough, I experience freedom. Because what used to strangle is absent, literally absent. And what I feel, I kid you not, it is a sensation of extreme focus and calm at the same time. I can't explain it other than that, but that's exactly what I experience. Like if I needed to do a bunch of math, I could just calculate it without a worry and knowing that it would be correct. Laser focus, heightened ability to think and process. And then this sense of calm. If I was to describe the sense of calm, it would be like being in front of a lake with a bunch of lily pads and the lake just being so calm that it looked like glass. Just beautiful. Strength and peace at the same time. It's beautiful. So why I share this? Because I also wrote a poem at the same time. I know, right? All this stuff goes on at the same time. And I reflect back on it before doing this podcast. And I knew today's episode was going to be about sharing this experience because I wasn't like this years ago. I wasn't. And I can't say what was so pivotal in my life to get me here other than same reason why I'm here doing the podcast. Because I get to. Because you just never know who's going to be listening and saying, I needed to hear that today. I needed to hear that today. I actually spoke with somebody this evening. And I'm laughing because they were sharing a struggle and I told them, you can do this. How do you know? You don't even know me. And I said, I don't need to know you. I can hear it in your voice. Oh my gosh, the beauty of being alive. All right, so here's the poem that I wrote while I was experiencing this experience. Here it goes. I'm not much of a poet reader, but we're going to give it a try. So here we go. I know you know how to feel pain. I know you know how to feel hurt. I know you know how to feel loss. I also know you know how to feel joy. I also know you know how to feel happiness. I also know you know how to feel gifts, how to feel gain, how to feel prosperity, and how to feel love. I know you know how to feel all of these things. I know because feeling pain and hurt and loss brings us humility and our blankets of comfort. Remember, without the pain, there is no appreciation for the gain or the gifts. Being mindful of who you are and the journey. Its memory doesn't prevent joy. It makes the joy even greater. It makes the happiness even greater. And it makes the love even deeper. I wrote this Because in that moment of this experience, it took deep reflection and knowing everything is all right. Deep reflection and a deeper relationship with yourself. So I know you know how. Now, are you just going to let yourself be and willing to sit with the pain and listen to what it's trying to communicate to you, what it's trying to teach you? What is it trying to whisper to you for you to know you better? That's my message for tonight. That's my message for today's podcast. You know I'm going to say it, guys, and I appreciate you all for being here. I want to give a shout out also to a monthly sponsor, Dr. Pamela Hall. Please go take a look at her website at PTSD Unplugged and go ahead and check out her work. And thank you very much for your continued support. Remember, to keep this podcast going, go check us out at patreon.com/PTSD and Beyond. And as always, we're better together, we're stronger together, and take what resonates and go beyond.